Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the ATLA MC Minecraft Survival Let's Play. In the last episode, I built up this mountain, and in between episodes, I built up that mountain. So I've been spending a lot of time working on these mountains, and my plan is to just put a time lapse at the end of the video showing all the progress that I've made. So if you want to see the progress of the mountains, you're going to have to wait till the end of the video. In today's episode, we're going to be making a stone farm. So that's going to be a cobblestone farm that feeds into a super smelter to give us unlimited smooth stone so that we don't have to keep going mining for all the stone for these mountains. Alright, let's go! Before we get started on the stone farm, I'm going to need to head out and find a coral reef so that we're able to make a TNT duplicator so that we can make this farm fully automatic. After 40 minutes of searching for a coral reef, I still haven't found one. However, I did find bamboo and melons from when I found a jungle, so that'll be useful in the future for making other farms. Another 40 minutes of searching and I finally found it. Now let's head down there and get some coral. Okay, we've got our coral, now let's head back home. Alright, so in these two shulker boxes is everything I need to make the cobblestone TNT farm. The design that I'm using is by ShulkerCrafts. I'm going to have a link to their tutorial in the description, but I'm going to do my best to explain it to you guys as well. Now, trying to pick a place for this farm, I want to put it inside one of the mountains. It's a big enough space for a farm like this, and why not? We just built them. Let's use them. Inside this mountain is where I've been storing the stone that I'm using to build the mountains. But if I dig through this wall over here, it should lead right into the next mountain. And I think this could be a good spot to put this farm. Okay, so I went ahead and cleared out some area inside the mountain to give us some space to build this farm. And whenever I'm building up big redstone farms like this, it's really important that I try to think of it and break it down into different segments. So first we're going to be making the collection platform that's going to collect all the drops and funnel them into one location. Then we're going to be building the cobblestone generators followed by the TNT duplicator. And then after all that's done, we're going to do a final storage unit for all of it. Okay, getting started on the collection platform, I'm going to grab my scaffolding, some water buckets, and a bunch of glass and the spruce fence gates. Actually, I just need one of those. And first I'm going to come over here and find a good spot where I can create an infinite water source. To create an infinite water source, you just need to get 2 water buckets and put them in opposite corners, and they'll flatten out like this, and then you can just fill your buckets right back up and it'll stay as an infinite water source. Now we're going to come over here and take our scaffolding and build up 6 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to come to the top of the scaffolding and place a piece of glass on top of the scaffolding. Next, we want to build a 13 by 13 square centered around this block. Next, we want to add a wall around the platform. And then go to the corners and build them up 1 block higher so it's 2 blocks into the corners. At this point, you can take your water and place it in the top corner blocks. And then add water all around the outside. Now all of the water stream should be flowing towards the center. Now you want to go to the center and put a fence gate there. You want to open it up and you want to break the glass block that is underneath the fence. And that's the collection platform complete. Next, getting started on the cobblestone generator, we want to come to the glass edge and find the center. And we want to go up 6 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we want to go back 6 blocks. Now I'm cutting it pretty close with the mountain, but I did measure it just a second ago and it should be fine. You want to place a glass block on top of the last scaffolding and bring it out 4 blocks on each side in order to make this 9 wide. At the end, place a temporary block and put glass blocks around the outer edges and remove the temporary block. Next, you want to place pistons facing towards you along the back side in between the glass. 7 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On the other side, place stone blocks and bring them out 1 block farther to make it a 2x7. Place your next row of pistons on top of the back stone. And then make your end caps where the water is going to be sitting. Now we want to continue this pattern along until we have 4 separate segments. On the top layer, we only need to put 1 row of stone in between the glass. Now we just need to repeat this on the opposite side. Once both of these are complete, you can add the water sources. Now we need to start laying out the redstone for these stone generators. The first thing we need to do is put some glass on top of all the pistons. Now we need to decide which direction we want the wiring to go, and I feel like I have more space in this direction, so I need to put another glass block on top of the extra space on all of these. Next, we want to use our building blocks of choice to connect up these glass platforms. Next, we start placing our redstone, and you can place a repeater above the glass block that's above the other glass block, and then you put redstone dust above all of the glass above the pistons. Do that for all 4 rows. Now we just need to add redstone dust behind all of the repeaters. Now we're going to be making our glass bridge that's going to connect this stone generator to that stone generator and then up to the TNT duplicator. So you want to come up to the top glass row and build out 8 blocks from that top redstone dust. And then you want to go towards the center 8. So 1, 2, 3. Use the elytra to go into crouch mode. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and you want to do that on both sides. So now we're going to come up here, find the center block, and place another glass block. And off in this area here is where we're going to build the clock that's going to control everything. So next to this first glass block, we're going to place a sticky piston facing up. And then you're going to grab your building block of choice and create a square. On the square, you're going to place 4 repeaters in all the centers. And you're going to set the repeaters to 4 ticks, 3 ticks, 4 ticks, and 4 ticks. Next to the square, we're going to place another building block here, and then we're going to put a building block on top of the sticky piston, on top of this block, and on top of this block. Next to this block, we want another sticky piston facing up, and then another building block next to that sticky piston. Here we want to put a repeater set to 4 ticks and a redstone dust here. Next you want a sticky piston facing towards you next to the redstone dust with a block on front of it. Now we just need to add a block here and this lever, and the clock is complete. So now from the clock we want to come down and put one glass block here, here, and here, and hop back up on the clock, and we want to put a repeater here and a repeater here. Set the front repeater to 2 ticks. Now we want to fill in this space with redstone dust, and you want to attach sticky piston to each redstone dust. And put a block in front of one of the pistons. Next we want to put a temporary block in front of the repeater, and then we want to have a glass block with a redstone dust on top of it. And we can get rid of the temporary block. Next we're going to lift this redstone line up using a redstone tower of glass, and you can connect the redstone through glass vertically like this. Next we're going to build 8 building blocks out from the top glass block. Hey guys, me from the future. I made a mistake originally when I recorded this clip, so this is me correcting it. What you're going to do next is you're going to put 8 repeaters along these building blocks, and you're going to set the repeater. The first one's going to be set to 3 ticks, and the rest of them are going to be set to 4 ticks. Next we want to build up 4 glass steps, and we want to have redstone on top of all of the glass. Then we add 3 more glass blocks with redstone on top. We're going to grab a cobblestone wall and attach it to the top fence gate. Now the next part that we need to make is our TNT duplicator. So we're going to come up here to the front of our repeater line. We're going to put a fence gate here with another fence gate on top of that one. And we're going to attach a cobblestone wall to the side of the top fence gate. And we're going to open the top fence gate. Now from up here, we're going to put a TNT on top of the fence gate. And then we're going to add 2 pieces of glass to the side of the TNT here. We're going to place a temporary block on top of the cobblestone wall, and we're going to put 2 slime blocks like this. We're going to get rid of our temporary block. We're going to put our dead coral right here, and now we're going to put slime on top of that, and coming back and on top of this one. And now we want to put a sticky piston against this piece of redstone dust pointing into the slime blocks, and put another slime block in front of it. And in front of that you want to put your detector rail and your minecart. At this point the TNT duplicator is complete. Now we need to connect the clock up to the stone generators. So we're going to start off by placing a redstone dust, then we're going to place a repeater at 2 ticks, and then we're going to place 3 repeaters at 4 ticks. Then we're going to place another redstone dust in the corner, and then we're going to place the rest of these repeaters at 4 ticks. And then you're going to do the same on the other side. The last thing that we need to do is create the lava channels that will supply the lava on top of all the water that will turn into stone that will then be pushed towards the TNT. So the first thing that we're going to do is put some glass on top of all of this stone. Then we're going to come to the center point here, and we're going to come up 1, 2, 3 blocks, and we can get rid of these 2 blocks here. And now we're going to continue putting glass blocks across the middle of the redstone wires. At the bottom, we're going to place 2 glass blocks, and you can get rid of the bottom one. Now we're going to make our way up to this top block that we placed, and using temporary blocks, we're going to create a channel that will guide the lava down towards the bottom. Now that the channel is in place, you want to block off all the places that the lava is going to fall except for the bottom one. And then you can add your lava into the system. Now you just got to wait for it to flow all the way down to the bottom, and then you can get rid of all your temporary blocks. Now we just have to do the same on this side, and this farm is basically complete other than a storage system. So now you're probably thinking, now's a great time to give everything a test. Well, I already gave everything a test and it didn't go well. Everything blew up, I had to rebuild it, I tried it again, it blew up, it blew up, it blew up, and this is about like the 40th time testing it. Now, I have already tested it and it has worked, but these are the changes that I had to make. The issues that I was having was that the stone from the stone generators was getting pushed towards the center too quick, and the TNT would fall, land on top of the stone, and then blow up parts of the redstone. So what I had to do was I created these, I believe these are called monostable circuits, which create 1-tick pulses, and it's basically what I'm doing is making it so that only a quarter of the pulses that come through here actually reach the stone generator. So now when we run the farm, our TNT gets duplicated, it gets dropped and explodes, and our pulses slowly make their way out to push towards the center to get exploded. Now the issues I was having before was the stone was coming in 4 times faster, and it would just completely create a platform for the TNT to fall on. But now I've slowed down the stone enough so that the TNT falls in the middle of it every time, and it's about 1 TNT for 1 piston push, and that is making it so that I don't have to worry about everything getting exploded again. And I can just leave this running and it'll slowly collect stone. And if we go down below the collection system, we can see we almost have an empty inventory so far. This farm's been running for maybe a minute. And there we go, we already have, 6 stacks of cobblestone, and if we just stay here, we'll keep on collecting more. But the next step to this farm is going to actually be creating a storage system, but I want to actually take all of the items coming from here, send it off to a smelter so that I get this type of stone rather than cobblestone, and yeah, let's just get started with planning how we're going to do that, and we'll be right back. Before I get started on the storage system, I have one theory that I need to test. I'm not sure that if I have to clear out this stone platform every time I start it up. I'm a little bit worried if I start it up, the stone's going to start pushing before the TNT falls and it might break, but that's why we test things. So let's see if I break this machine for the 41st time. Alright, the TNT. Okay, that's good. So we don't have to get rid of all the stone every time that we start it up. This TNT will fall before any of the pistons push. That is good news. Alright, so I gathered up all the resources I need to make the super smelters and the item storage lines. I'm just going to build that up all off camera because this episode's getting really long already. Then I'm going to bring you back in and show you how everything works. So let's cut to that right now. And a few hours later, I finished all of the super smelters, all of the item transport, and all of the storage. Behind me here, you can see I wanted to kind of make a show of it, so whenever the stone comes into the system, it drops down, and underneath that carpet is a hopper, which brings everything down into these chests. And we're collecting all of it into there, and then all the cobblestone that bypasses the system will eventually end up into this chest here. And now if we come back into here, you can see the mess of redstone and water tubes that I've made. So this redstone line here just goes up and powers on the clock, just so I've moved the lever down here so that it's easier to access to turn it on and off. Over here I built up 2 sets of small super smelters that are both depositing all of their stone into this water tunnel, which comes along and heads back to that staging area in the front. And all of the leftover cobblestone that bypasses the super smelters comes along this water tube to the other pipe in the front staging area. And then all of the stone ends up at the staging area, coming through the tubes. And actually it looks like I have a bit of a backup. Let's collect that extra stuff. Okay, and it ends up into the system. So we've already collected a lot of stone to go into making the rest of the mountains. Now I'm just going to keep this system running for as long as I can, collect up as much stone, and I think it's time to do a little bit more work on the mountains. But before I work on the mountains, I've got one more farm I'm going to make, and it's only going to take me about 60 seconds to make, so I'm going to cut that together real quick and explain how it works. We're making a snow farm. And just like that, the snow farm's complete. All you have to do is come up underneath the snowman here, aim at this snow layer and hold down left click, and you'll just keep collecting a ton of snow. Hello, Mr. Snowman. All of the drops kind of fall around him, then any that fall onto the dirt block come through this minecart hopper, through the hopper, and then into this chest. And as you can see, we've already collected a bunch of snow already. We're going to actually take all that snow out. We're going to turn that into snow blocks, and we're going to be using a lot of snow blocks on the top of the mountains. But if you have a silk touch shovel, you can also collect snow layers, which can be really useful in helping give detail to the snow on top of the mountains. By using snow layers, you're really able to layer up the snow layers to the point that you think looks the best, and you can create some really cool looking stairways with this and kind of gradients throughout the landscape. But anyways, that's where I'm going to leave it for today's episode. In this episode, we made 2 really cool farms that are going to be really useful for helping me finish the mountain. I'm just going to go and work on the mountain now, and I'm going to end off this video with a time lapse of all the mountain work I've done in the past few days. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please consider subscribing and make sure to press that like button. I'll see you next time.